Hello and welcome everyone to the Understanding Behavior live stream. Tonight we are going over generalization, a very fun topic. I know it's also one that a lot of students struggle with and it can get kind of tricky. So we'll go over all of that today. Yeah, Lizzie, we just started, so hopefully you're here now. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Everybody having a good week so far? I feel like it's been kind of like a meh week. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but yeah, been kind of a meh week. But it's gonna pick back up though. Tonight I'm going to a show, so that's gonna be super fun. Hang out with some friends. Kira testing Friday. That's tomorrow. Yeah, that's totally tomorrow. Well, good luck, Kira. Let us know how it goes. I hope you kill it. How's everybody else doing? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Overall, pretty good. Oh, Lucilla, happy birthday! Ah, that's exciting. Birthdays are always fun. Jeanette under hurricane weather. Oops. That is not good. Good luck with that. Hope it's all cool. All right. Well, sweet. Anyway, normal things is if you're not following all the things, understanding behavior, make sure to check them out at the link tree that I just posted. We are also going to go over... Sorry, I just totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, check out the things in the link tree. So we've got some free mini mocks in there. We've got the Power Preppers group where we have access to a few different study groups that would go on every week. We're going to be changing some things up in the Power Preppers group soon, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be changing the study group format a little bit. Amanda, last study group before the test. Good luck. I know you're going to kill it. For sure. Lizzie, glad you're here, made it. But yeah, at some point today we'll probably give away a copy of the Beat the Beast mock on to somebody that is live here. So Beat the Beast mock is pretty awesome. It's a pretty good replicate of what the exam actually looks like. And cool thing about it is that if you get an 80% or higher on it, you're guaranteed to pass the exam. And if you don't, it does give you a scale about like how confident to feel given your score. And it also gives you a feedback report where you can review all the questions and see what you missed and try to avoid those errors in the future. So super cool mock. Definitely check it out. But we'll be giving away a copy of that today as well. So stay tuned for that. Should happen later in this session. Cool. DJ Jazzy's asking, do you think we'll have a study group on Instagram in the future? Do you mean like doing like an Instagram live? I used to do that with a little bit when I was with Rogue ABA, but I just find YouTube is just such a better format. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm a little delayed on the mini mocks. I'm hoping to get them out like this week. Molly and I are crushing hard on Sunday, so I'm hoping Sunday that those are going to be out for y'all. Things have just been a little bit hectic, had some unexpected wrenches in my plan, but I'm hoping to get those out this week for y'all. All right, well, let's get into our topic, generalization, for tonight. Here's our agenda. So we're going to talk about what is generalization to start off with, going off of our article from Bear. Then we'll talk about stimulus and response generalization, the differences between the two and how to highlight them. We'll also go through some practice examples of that. Then we'll go through methods for teaching generalization, and then we'll do a quiz on that later as well. The mock exam, the Beat the Beast mock exam, is only $40, so super reasonable. You can also use the code UBNerd, and that gets you 15% off either the mocks or the mini mocks. You can buy them together on the store too. That's in the Ultimate Mock Bundle. This is a slightly better price than the 15% off, so you get both products for $115. So super awesome mocks. Definitely would recommend checking them out. Okie dokie. So first of all, Bearwolf and Risley, they define generalization as a behavior change may be said to have generality if it proves durable over time if it appears in a wide variety of possible environments, or if it spreads to a wide variety of related behaviors. So let's break this definition down. Let's first talk about this first part. So if it proves durable over time, what word does that refer to? Let's see that in chat. Just for a behavior remaining durable over time, what term best relates to that? Right now we only have the one mock exam for $40, but in October we will definitely have a second one released. Good, yeah, loving it in chat. So this first part is talking about maintenance. And then look at these other two parts. So this is more about like the generalization component. So if we see the behavior in a wide variety of possible environments, or if it spreads to a wide variety of related behaviors. So we can go over those two now. First off, we have stimulus generalization. So let me get my pen markings off here. So we have stimulus generalization. This is when we're continuing to perform a master target behavior in another setting, or when the setting has been altered or with other people. I like to think about like our stimulus generalization is we're really thinking about like our antecedent stimuli. So we're not changing like what the consequence of the behavior is. We're just seeing the same behavior occur under different contexts or antecedents. Now let's talk about response generalization. This is when we're engaging in untrained responses that are functionally equivalent to the original target behavior. What does that mean for responses to be functionally equivalent? Who can define that for me in chat? And while you're doing that, if you don't mind smashing that like button, it definitely helps support the channel quite a bit, and it's a free, easy thing to do. So yeah, Ashley's saying like does the same thing, same consequence. Okay. Yeah, Gialis, I like that where it's like they have the same outcome. Good. Yeah, so functionally equivalent, the two behaviors have the same outcome or they have the same consequence. Yeah, I love those. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Good. So yeah, what we're looking at here is the same consequence, the same outcome for the behaviors. The same behavioral history, same kind of reinforcers. Awesome. Very nice, very nice. Let's break down stimulus generalization a little bit more. So when we're actually seeing generalization occur, I want to note that we're usually seeing something new occur. So we're seeing like a new antecedent context, or we're seeing a new response emerge. One nice little tip for differentiating between stimulus and response generalization is to look at what we have more of. Do we see, or like what is newly being generated? So if we see a new antecedent stimulus being generated, that's going to be stimulus generalization. And we see a new response being generated, then it's going to be response generalization. So let's break this down a little bit. So in stimulus generalization, we have many different stimuli evoking the same response. This is learning a new context for the behavior to occur in. So again, it's a new antecedent context that's evoking a response that's already in the individual's repertoire. So again, we're seeing the effects of the stimulus transfer to a new stimulus as well. So like sometimes like these antecedent stimuli, they may be SDs or they may be MOs. So like if something is was like an SD and it's transferring to a new stimulus, it's transferring like those SD powers. So it's transferring like those behavior altering effects, for example. And again, what we're really looking at here is our antecedent stimuli. So new antecedent stimulus, that's when we see stimulus generalization occurring. Lillian says she had an example given today that had new stimuli and new responses, and the answer was response generalization. So now I'm more confused than I thought I already was. So that was probably just a bad question, where if it had both and you clearly noted that, probably both was occurring. So that is possible, and I think we have an example or two like that today too. All right. let's talk about response generalization now. So in this one, we have a single stimulus evokes a variety of responses, or when we're seeing generalization occur, we're seeing it evoke a new response. And this response is going to be in the same functional response class as the previously learned response. So we talked about same functional response class earlier. That means the same thing as that they have the same consequence, or they have the same outcome. Yeah, Ashley Miller is saying word antecedent stimuli is tripping her up a little bit. So antecedent stimuli, this is just stimuli that occur before the behavior. This would be in contrast to consequent stimuli. So like reinforcers and punishers would be consequent stimuli. Antecedent stimuli would be things like SDs, MOs, or like presence of different stimuli. All right. So in response generalization, like the easy way to think about it is that we're learning a new way to accomplish something. So new method that has the same outcome. So for example, like if I'm really thirsty, then I could either drink a water or I could go drink a soda. And right now, like my sodas are warm and in the fridge and they're far away. So like the water is going to be the more convenient option. All right. So the trick here, again, what you want to look at is what is newly being generated, and often that's going to be what there is more of. So it's also possible in the question that Lillian was looking at, like they may have noted like that there were multiple stimuli, but maybe there wasn't a new antecedent stimulus. But there was a new response. So that might be another way to look at the question, is to, again, look at what is newly being generated. So if we have stimulus generalization, we're going to see a new antecedent stimulus evoke a familiar response. And if we have response generalization, then we're going to have a familiar stimulus evoke a new response that has the same function as previously learned responses. Cool. Yeah, Jamie has a good example here. So she thinks of like different ways to fold clothes for response generalization. So I feel like everybody has just like a slightly different method of like how they fold their clothes, just depending on like how they learned and what they've been practicing their whole life. So yeah, I think that's a great example. Mateo's asking, is there a difference between environmental and setting generalization and stimulus generalization? No, those would all be the same thing. So those would just be like different environments, different settings. Those are just different types of stimuli, so it would fall under that same category. Yeah, Lillian has a good one here, like different ways to mix cake batter. So like with a spoon or with a KitchenAid mixer. So let's think about that one here. So using a spoon or using a KitchenAid mixer, what do you guys think for that one? Is that more like stimulus generalization or response generalization? Again, the example was either using a spoon to mix or using the KitchenAid to mix. Is that stimulus generalization or response generalization? And if you can do a rationale, let's do that. Skylar's asking, are there AKAs for these? I don't think there's any AKAs for stimulus generalization. One AKA for response generalization you might see is actually response induction. And I didn't think about that until you asked that question, Skylar, so I'm glad you asked that question. So if you ever see this term response induction, this is the same thing as response generalization. Staying on some of these rationales here. So Natalia says stimulus because the response is the same of mixing. Okay, like mixing or mixing, like flicking the switch for it. I don't know. Let's see. Liasha has response because it all results in mixing or making the cake. Okay, so same functional response class. Okay. Yeah, Mendoza has the similar rationale there. Georgia says stimulus because it's different utensils, but using them to mix the cake. All right, well, let's go over this one. So this one is actually going to be response generalization. So we have different responses here. It's like mixing with spoon, or use the KitchenAid. So these are different responses. They look functionally, they look physically different from each other, but they have the same function. Note like here, the antecedent stimulus is not the tools. You remember using the tools is going to be different behaviors. The antecedent stimulus is that you have a cake that's not mixed. So the antecedent stimulus is the same here. So unmixed cake. The tools themselves just bring different responses. So the stimulus that's relevant to both of these responses is an unmixed cake, not whether one of these is present. So that's tricky. Really important kind of just rule to hold on to is like when you're using a tool for a behavior, it's not an antecedent stimulus. It's just going to be like something that we use in the behavior. It's the operandum. So that was a tricky one. Let's keep moving forward. We've got some more examples here. So all of these are either going to be stimulus or response generalization, so give it a go. After learning to greet her teacher in the morning with a hello, Sarah began to greet all adults she met with a hello. Is this stimulus or response generalization? Yeah, Lillian, thanks for bringing up that example. That was a good one. I think somebody said Amanda made that one. So thanks to both of you. All right, yeah, answers looking good here. I'm loving the rationales. Good Kylie, good Mateo. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Looking great, everyone. Keep it up. Yeah, DJ Jazzy looks good. Ashley looks good. Okay, so this one is going to be stimulus generalization. So the response we're looking at is hello, and it's occurring under different antecedent stimuli, so different adults that she meets. So multiple stimuli, one response, so stimulus generalization. Good, let's check the next one. Jake was taught to clap his hands when he is happy. Soon he started to stomp his feet as well to express happiness. What do we think here? Cool, I'm liking the answers. Yeah, Gialis, that looks great. Corinne, good. Yeah, there you go, Savannah. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, good, Eileen. Perfect. Yeah, this one's going to be response generalization. So this one we have two different responses. We have clapping the hands and stomping feet. Both have the same function here, so kind of like showing off that happiness. All right, next one. When Alex learned to tie his shoelaces, he also started to tie different knots on bags without being taught. Is this stimulus generalization, response generalization, or both? All right, a little mix of answers here. A lot of people starting to say both here. Okay. Okay. I know, a little uneasy about the both, but I like some of the rationales coming out. Yeah, Victoria, that looks really good. Mateo and Savannah with a little more confidence. You guys look good. All right. Yeah, this is a tricky one here, crew. Really nice job, though. This is going to be both response and stimulus generalization. So what we see here is that we see different responses. So we see the different knots, and they're being applied on different stimuli. So this one is both. We have new stimuli and new responses occurring. I know that was a thinker. I'm glad a lot of you got it, though. Very nice. Very nice, very nice. Let's check this next one. After learning to wave goodbye to his parents, Timmy started to wave goodbye to his toys when going to bed. I wrote this one, I was just like, this is the most adorable thing I've ever written. Lillian says I need to start working with the board to make exam questions. You know, I really want to, but there's just like a small conflict of interest with it. And I live like 30 minutes from the board, so like it wasn't out of the realm of possibilities until I just, you know, became a test prep instructor. Nah, I'm not professional enough for the board. I just do my own thing. All right. Yeah, they live in Littleton, Colorado, so I'm in Denver, Colorado. Actually, I do have a few friends that used to work for the board. I know a couple people there. All right. Oh, yeah, Kira, yeah, that's the best town ever. Denver's the best. All right, let's look at this one. Really nice job, everyone. This one is stimulus generalization. So we've got the one response here is saying goodbye, and we have it occurring to multiple stimuli. So we have it occurring to the parents, and now we have it transferring to his toys without any training. All right, we've got a couple more. We got learning to play a melody on the piano. Lisa found she could also play the same melody on a keyboard with ease. Yeah, of course, Andrea. It's my pleasure. I'm just like a bona fide behavior nerd, so I like talking about this stuff, and it's way better when I have an audience to talk to, so thanks for being here, everyone. And bring your friends, especially if you're going to pass soon, because, like, we're going to miss you when you pass. It's, like, the hardest part is, like, everybody passes and they just leave. I'm like, oh, I like hanging out. All right, yeah, I'm loving the rationales here. No, it's a good thing. It's a natural part of the cycle. I'm here for one purpose, to get you to pass. And once you do that, my job is complete. So I only hope that you send all of your supervisors to me in the future and all of your friends still trying to pass. That's all I ask. Think of me. Yay, cool, Michelle. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, if you do pass, like, it is fun. Like, you just pop in every once in a while. Like, I'll remember you 6 months, a year down the line. So, like, just pop in whenever it feels right. We'll be here on Thursdays. Yay. Thanks for that, Skylar. Appreciate it. Yay. Thanks, Lillian. Yeah, I know. I'm really hoping like we can get our course up and ready to go for 6th edition, and then we can really like expand this stuff. Like I want to get like any place that has like BDS as a standard. I'm like, nope, get out of here. Understanding behavior is going to be cheaper and better. So let's just do that. All right, let's check this one out. So this one's going to be stimulus generalization. Some really good rationales came into chat. So we've got the same behavior occurring again. It's the same exact song. Just we're playing it on different instruments. So different antecedent stimuli is going to make this stimulus generalization. All righty. Let's check out our last one here. After being taught to ask for a break by handing a break card to his teacher, Michael started to ask for a break by saying, "Break, please," without the card. Yeah, we got a question. I think there's going to be a difference between the 5th and the 6th edition. I think there's going to be like a little bit of a difference, but it's not going to be substantial. Like somebody left a 2-star review on the mock the other day. They thought it was 6th edition, but it wasn't. But they were pissed that it was wrong edition, even though it wasn't. And I'm like, even if it was the wrong edition, like 90% of the content is still relevant. So like you're not wasting your time by studying 5th edition materials. It's not like SDs and reinforcement, like they haven't changed at all. They still kind of work the same. Like stimulus and response generalization, like these concepts haven't changed that much. I think the procedures to teach them may have changed a little bit, but yeah, I think we had a question like how is this one different than the mixing question? The difference is that it's the same exact behavior. It's that we're playing the song. The mixing, like think about like physically mixing with a spoon, it looks way different topographically than like setting up your KitchenAid, plug it in and turning it on. So I think it's like physically what the responses look like is the main difference. All right, good rationales coming out here. Yeah, Corinne, Skylar, that looks good. Yeah, Kylie looks good. Let's go check this one out. So this one is going to be response generalization. We see a new response emerging out of here. So they were handing the break card, and now they're vocally asking for breaks. Those have the same function, and they occur under the stimulus where it's like desire for break. So kind of like MO for break is our stimulus that evokes this. All right, nice job there, everyone. Let's keep rolling. Yeah, Patricia, what question? Or are you talking about the difference between the piano and the mixer one? The piano one, like the song is exactly the same. So we're playing it exactly the same way. The mixer one, like the responses look differently. That's what makes it response generalization, is that they're different responses. So like the mixing with the spoon looks very different from turning the KitchenAid on and setting it up. Yeah, last one here. It's not too confusing, guys. So all we saw here was that we learned one response form, then we had a new response be generated. So just look at what was new. We saw the new response here saying break please without the card. So then it was the functional equivalent to a different response. So that one makes this our response generalization. All right, let's keep going. We're going to talk about our different types of generalization programming now. First off, we have multiple exemplar training. We're going to go over like what each of these is, the purpose, and then a quick example. So for multiple exemplar training, this is when we're expanding the amount of relevant stimuli involved in training. So the purpose is to teach new relevant contexts. Here's a quick example. Is like you can drink coffee or you can drink a Red Bull to wake you up. So two different ways that you can do something. We also have training loosely. These are very easy to mix up. So multiple exemplar training is where we're mixing up the relevant components. Training loosely is when we're expanding the amount of irrelevant stimuli involved in training. The purpose is to get the individual to adjust to small differences if that is a difficulty. Here is just a quick example. So if you order ice cream from somebody, no matter the gender or the clothing of the cashier, so no matter what they look like, you can still engage in that skill. So like those things like the gender and the clothing that they're wearing, like not really relevant to ordering ice cream, but it is varying that up a little bit to make the skills transfer a little bit better. Jeanette's asking, in the future, will we ever do a breakdown of the task list, going over each task list item in order? Yes, we're working on that. That's going to be like a full course, and we're preparing that for the 6th edition. Training loosely, this would be like training in different classrooms. Potentially, if it's like the same instructor, that might be training loosely. But if it's like a different instructor, that might be multiple exemplar training. So it depends like how relevant the things that we're mixing up are. Cool. Let's go over programming common stimuli. So the focus on that word common really means like sameness throughout. So this is keeping some stimuli the same between our settings. So transferring things from the training setting to the testing setting. The purpose is to help make transfer a little bit easier to the new settings. Here's like a quick example is that you would use your same instrument at practice. Let's say you play a guitar or whatever, as the live setting. So if you use a different guitar live than you do in practice, things might feel a little bit wonky, but if you use the same one, it's going to make the playing feel a lot easier and transfer more easily. Yeah, DJ Jazzy, right on point here. Multiple exemplar trainings, like bigger differences between the stimuli. Training loosely is like the smaller differences or the less relevant ones. Let's go through a few more here. We've got mediation. This is programming the natural environment to help maintain learned responses. So doing anything in the natural environment, this could be like using to-do lists, alarm clocks. This could be like recruiting friends or family to help out. Purpose here is to fade out the need for the performance manager. So this is actually more of a maintenance technique than a stimulus or response generalization technique. Here's some examples. So using a to-do list to complete your tasks, using an alarm clock to wake up, having your parents reinforce behavior so they're less reliant on the performance manager. Teaching negative examples. So this is teaching what does not belong to a stimulus class or when not to engage in a particular response. Purpose is to help fine-tune when a response should occur. This is actually more of a discrimination technique. So in generalization, we're expanding the amount of stimuli that behavior is occurring to. So stimulus generalization. And stimulus discrimination, we're narrowing that. So we're trying to kind of like teach like, hey, like don't do that, like don't do this behavior when this is present, or don't engage in this response here, or don't do it this way, for example. Here's a quick example, like grandma will write you out of the will if you swear in front of her. So that's going to teach them like, hey, when you're in front of grandma, don't do this. So yeah, that in this case it would be teaching in S delta, but it could also be teaching like which responses like not to engage in. Let's talk about indiscriminable contingencies. So this is making it unclear when we're reinforcing or punishing consequences will occur. This is another maintenance strategy. So this will help maintain behavior with fewer or less need for the contingencies. Here would be an example. So only occasionally take your kid out for fast food for independently unloading the dishwasher. So it's not reinforced every time, it's only reinforced some of the time. So that's going to help maintain that behavior. They're going to like have that dishwasher unloading persist a little bit longer. Here is a really cool diagram that I wanted to just kind of just demonstrate this point of indiscriminable contingencies. So the rule here is that when we have continuous reinforcement, the contingencies are very easy to tell apart. But when we have intermittent reinforcement, the contingencies are difficult to tell apart. So what happens is that when we have intermittent reinforcement, is that the behavior, or sorry, when we have continuous reinforcement, the behavior is not very resistant to extinction. That word resistance to extinction can get a little confusing, but essentially means that like it's gonna like easily succumb to extinction. So we know extinction eventually decreases behavior. So that means if it doesn't have very much resistance to extinction, is that the behavior is gonna drop off very quickly. So let's look at this diagram and show what's going on here. What we have here is we've got an FR1 schedule is active for 10 responses, and then we put the schedule on extinction. The green boxes, they signal that a response occurred and is reinforced. The red boxes signal that the behavior occurs and it's not reinforced. Empty boxes signal that the behavior did not occur, and we have rough IRTs with like the size of the boxes. So for this arrangement, we saw that once the behavior was put on extinction, there was a short burst, and then the behavior just kind of died. So this behavior was not very resistant to extinction, where the behavior died very quickly when it was on extinction. Let's compare this to an intermittent reinforcement schedule arrangement now. So we have the same arrangement here, except instead of an FR1 schedule, we have a VR2 schedule, and then we simulate what the results might look like in comparison. So now look, during the active period, we still had a lot of responses where it occurred and it was not reinforced. What this did was it made it a lot more difficult for the organism to tell when the reinforcement schedule actually stopped. As a result, they engage in the behavior a lot more frequently and for a longer period of time when it was put on extinction, in comparison to our continuous reinforcement schedule when they stop the behavior very quickly. So this behavior, not very resistant to extinction, it stopped very quickly. This behavior, we used our intermittent schedules, we used our indiscriminable contingencies, and what that did is it maintained the behavior for a much longer period of time. Yeah, I think I saw that question. Lillian's asking about resistance to recovery from punishment. And yeah, this actually does relate a lot. Like these schedules relate a lot to punishment implementation and recovery from punishment as well. So we want to make indiscriminable contingencies with punishment. So after a while, we might fade out the schedule of punishment. But at first, we want to get it down on a very consistent schedule. So we want to start at FR1 with a strong punisher. If anybody had that question about the resistance to recovery from punishment, it'd be cool to look at again because I'd like to see just the wording was to talk about too. But yeah, I think like if we had more intermittent punishment, then the recovery from punishment would be more likely. So yeah, Mateo's asking, the variable schedules create more resistance to extinction. That's absolutely correct. This one has more resistance to extinction because the behavior persisted longer when it was on extinction. Yeah, Patricia on the right track. So not necessarily variable, but like a variable ratio, anything not continuous. All right, we're going to move on from that. We're talking about general case analyses, and then we've got a quiz, and then we're going to wrap this up. So general case analysis, I feel like a lot of people get this, get pretty confused when they hear this term. The thing about it is like I was thinking about it's like we're bringing on like our detective Sherlock mode. And all we're really doing is we're exploring the relevant details needed to successfully program for generalization. So let's say like we're working on a new program that's like working on like decreasing aggression with a student across like a bunch of different settings. So like I might like in my investigation, I might look at like, okay, like what kind of intervention options, or like let's figure out the function first, obviously. And then once we've done that and figured out like what our intervention options are, let's think about like how likely they're to be applied in the different environments. What are like some antecedent manipulations that we can do to make these behaviors less likely? What kind of systems are most feasible? And think about like all these different techniques and how we're going to best program for generalization and maintenance. So here's a bunch of questions that you can ask, like who will maintain the behavior or the behavior change? What exemplars should we teach? So if we're doing multiple exemplar training, what negative examples are going to be important to teach? Is there rigidity with minor details that we need to train? So kind of just asking like a question for each of our different programs. What might help transfer the skill across settings? And how do we fade out those consequences over time? Ashley's asking, is a lag schedule of reinforcement a way to promote generalization? Yeah, actually that is a good way to promote generalization as well. It's not one that we have on this PowerPoint, but if you want to increase variety of behavior, lag schedules are a pretty useful tool for that. Okay, we've got some questions on these types of generalization programming now. This is the fun part. So let's see those rationales ready to go. First one, Natalie's speech therapist works with her across various settings and with different people to ensure she uses her new communication skills widely, also involving family and teachers in the process. Which generalization programming technique is being best described here? Patricia's asking, when will this video be uploaded? It is pretty much already uploaded. If you want to watch the beginning, you could rewind it right now. All right, answer's looking pretty good here. Okay, I think our best answer here is going to be D, mediation. Very nice, everyone. So mediation, we're implementing things in the natural environment to get this behavior to maintain. So that's exactly what we did here. We got the family and teachers in this process and on board. So we're not the only ones promoting language. Everybody is. Awesome. Let's check out this next one. To encourage Angela to maintain her table manners, her parents provide praise and sometimes surprise rewards at unpredictable intervals. What do you think? All right, yeah, answer's looking really nice. I love the rationales from the few still keeping up with it. Yala, Savannah, Maddie, Jazzy, Amanda, killing it. Yeah, nice, Yolanda. All right, very nice here, Kura. This one is going to be F. Sorry, the letter's wrong here. Indiscriminable contingencies. I'm going to fix that real quick before I forget. So F, indiscriminable contingencies. So yeah, essentially that's unclear when reinforcement is going to be provided, so it's going to help maintain those behaviors. All right, next one up. Behavior analyst teaches Marcus to identify a chair by presenting various types of chairs and reinforcing correct identification as a chair. What do y'all think here? Yeah, Lillian's asking a really good question. She's saying, I think I need to stop studying. The more that I do, I'm letting things trip me up. Have you ever suggested somebody stops, especially when they don't have perfect scores? Yeah, I've actually given out the recommendation to stop studying many, many times. I don't want to point out any names, but there's a few names I'm thinking of. I'm like, yeah, you're probably good. Like you probably just stop and you're good. But yeah, I think sometimes, especially if you're like an overthinker, sometimes like too much studying is actually going to harm you, because like then you start thinking about scenarios, or it's like once you do so much studying, you're bound to run into bad questions, and you're going to overthink them, and then it's going to ruin the solid information that you already spent a really a long time forming. So think about like you're learning, it's always cumulative. It's always like stacking on top of each other. So if you start learning from shitty content, then like it's probably going to bring your skills down a little bit. So yeah, I think there is a point where, yeah, you can just call it good. Be like, I'm going to give it my next best go. And if it doesn't work, then I'll have my work cut out for me, but just go. For sure. And yeah, there's several people that I'm thinking of like this. Now we've got some worry warts around. I'm always just like, let's just chill out. It's going to be great. And even if you don't pass, it's still going to be great. Yeah, the BDS modules for sure. Like sometimes it's just like, wow, what am I even doing here? Like I'm not learning anything. I'm just like clicking the things and memorizing and going through. It's like, let's just chill out. And you actually like need some space from learning too. Like there's like, if you look at like learning science, like there's actually some good data around like letting the information like really digest, and taking some time away from it actually can help learning more than just like constantly banging your head at it. So yeah, I think there's definitely times to take breaks. I think like if you're a person who's like, I'm studying 2 to 5 hours every day, you should probably consider a break soon. All right, let's look at this one. First one here is actually going to be a multiple exemplar training. So what we have is we have different examples of chairs. We are varying up relevant features. So all these chairs look very different from each other, but they are still all similar. They're all called chairs. So that's what makes this multiple exemplar instructions, that we're varying up relevant details about the stimuli. All right, next one up. During reading lessons, Emma is exposed to books with different font sizes, colors, and backgrounds to help her recognize words in various contexts. I know a lot of people, you either love or hate BDS. I think BDS is okay. I think they have good questions. I think like overall it's a quality set of questions. If you're using it as your only training system, I think you're gonna have a bad time. But if you're using it just for questions, you're like, hey, I'm gonna do a couple of these every day to like test myself and learn a few new things, I think it's a pretty good resource for that. But if you're like, all of my studying is only going to be BDS, and I'm just going to grind it and keep doing the fluencies and just keep memorizing the questions and just get through it, then it's going to suck and you're not going to learn. How much is BDS anymore? What is BDS? Like $500? 500? Dang. That's a lot. DJ Jazz is asking me what resources I use to help the pass the exam. You're gonna hate me. I actually did not study for the BCBA exam. I went to a really amazing program, and I've been studying behavior analysis as my undergraduate degree as well. So my bachelor's is in behavior sciences. So like I felt like I felt like I could have passed the BCBA exam like before I even started my grad program. Is like how deep and how nerdy I got into behavior analysis from the start. I went to Western Michigan University. So yeah, I think I had one study session for the BCBA exam because I like sat down with one of my friends. I'm like, yeah, we should maybe look at like something. We should probably like look at the task list once. And other than that, like, yeah, I just went, took it, passed on my first try. But again, like I don't know, like you really have to appreciate like what level of nerdiness I was like when I was 19 years old. Like I could not think straight. Like I couldn't think about anything other than behavior analysis. Everything in my life was behavior analysis. It totally consumed me. It was not a normal journey. So don't compare my experience to yours. I always tell my students that they're like, you always like talk about this stuff so fluid. It's like, yeah, I've been doing this for 12 years and I'm just a total freaking geek about it. So like, just don't compare your skill set to mine, and you'll have a great time. And I just want to let you know too, like there's definitely people out there that I talk to that are like so far beyond me that like they make me feel dumb. So like there's different levels. Don't be ashamed of where you're at. There's always room to grow and get better at this stuff. So and just note that like I'm not even the best. Like there's people that are way smarter than me. All right, we've been taking forever. Let's look at this one. This one is going to be our train loosely. So this is what we more mean about like our irrelevant features, is that we're just varying up like font sizes. Like the words are all the same. If we're varying up the words, obviously that's more about the relevant features, but font sizes and colors, those are pretty much all going to be the same. So we're just varying up some of the less relevant features here. I can recognize the word elephant, whether it's this big or this big. All right. We have a question. How is this one different from programming common stimuli? So this one, like we only have the one setting where we're like asking what the different chairs are. Programming common stimuli would be like keeping the sameness throughout. So it'd be like asking like the kitchen chair and then having the kitchen chair in like somebody else's kitchen. So it's like the same stimulus in multiple settings, where this is varying up the stimuli. All right. We've got, I think, just one more page of these. Let's keep going. Nora learns to identify a cat in books, cartoons, and even in different poses to ensure that she can generalize the concept of a cat across various representations. What do you think here? Yeah, so BDS between like 369 and 750. That's crazy. I think like our most expensive package will probably be just 500. Like that's would include like everything, and like you're gonna pass if you buy that. But I think like our main course is probably gonna be more about like 300. So. I'm currently not doing private tutoring, Akila, but I do have somebody amazing, Molly. She is another amazing instructor, and you can buy tutoring with her on the shop. I can drop the link to the shop. Snap is almost $1,000. Holy shit. $1,000? This stuff's not even that good. Alright, anyway, that's so insane. I can't believe that. Well, I'm never gonna charge you $1,000 for anything here. Unless you want to do like hella tutoring with Molly, but Yeah, you're not gonna pay $1,000 or anything here. All right, let's check this out. This one is going to be A again, multiple exemplar instruction. Yeah, lots of people got that. Good rationales from Tina. Good, yeah, nice and Mendoza and Yolanda as well. Good Skylar. Good Addie. So yeah, multiple exemplar instruction. We're varying up the different types of cats to train that response under. All right, next one up. While preparing for Tara's treatment plan, Heather asks many questions about the different environments where target behaviors occur, availability of parents, what resources are available at the home, and more. I know, it was crazy. So I used to work at Rogue ABA. Rogue ABA, in my opinion, they were doing the best test prep out there. Like, I think they're doing better than we were doing better stuff than what Study Notes and BAS is currently doing. They just stopped though. Like, once I left as an instructor, they just fired all their instructors and they tried to do like an automated course, and then they just stopped because nobody was doing it full time and nobody really cared enough. So yeah, once I saw like that hole here, I'm like, oh, it's just like Rogue's gone. I don't have to compete with Rogue. Like, okay, yeah, we can do this. So I have a lot of exciting big plans. I really just need to kick my ass into gear and make it a reality for y'all, because it's gonna be really cool and I'm excited, but I just need to get my ass in gear. Easier said than done. All right. Really nice here. So this one is going to be G, our general case analysis. So this is again where we're just doing that investigation, kind of seeing like what's going on, what do we have to work with, what's going to work out for generalization here. All right, next one here. While teaching Thomas to differentiate which items should go into the recycling bin, his instructor explicitly points out non-recyclable items as well. I know it's nice as I'm gonna have some fewer distractors in the near future, so we're just gonna go frickin' hard. Yeah, Lillian, let's definitely stay in touch. I feel confident for you on your test. All right, this looks great, everyone. So this one is going to be E, teaching our negative examples. So we're pointing out the non-recyclable items, so those don't go in there. Put this in a different bin, sort this somewhere else. So kind of like different behaviors and different responses. So it's like if it's recyclable, put it in this bin. If it's not recyclable, put it in this bin. Okay, let's check our last one here. Liam's teacher incorporates items commonly found in most supermarkets when teaching him shopping skills to ensure that he can apply these skills in any store that he visits. What do y'all think? Sweet, I'm liking it. Answer's looking good. So this one is going to be C, our programming common stimuli. So this is keeping our things same throughout our different settings. So we have same things from the supermarkets that we do in our teaching setting. Very cool, everyone. Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you're not following all the understanding behavior things, make sure that you are checking them out in the link tree I just posted. If you want to get a discount on the mocks or the mini mocks, you know the place to do that. You can use this code UBNerd to do that. I keep forgetting to do like the giveaway, so let's go ahead and we're gonna give away a copy of the Beat the Beast exam right now as well. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Let's go ahead and do it up. So yeah, if you're here and you plan on taking the Beat the Beast and you want to win it, you're able to participate in this. And we'll do a random. Ooh, how about let's do 1,000 this time? Ooh, that's so fun. Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. I appreciate you all for coming here. Thanks for all your support and the good vibes. Appreciate it. All right, so yeah, if you want to guess a number for the Beat the Beast mock exam, go ahead and give it a go. If you don't win tonight, you can use that code UBNerd to get 15% off, or you can also purchase the Ultimate Mock Exam Bundle, which is the best price that you'll get on it, even with the 15% off. That comes with the mini mocks for mastery as well as the Beat the Beast. Awesome, thanks, Jazzy. Of course. Thanks so much for coming, everyone. All right. A lot of people vote putting high numbers here. Let's make Michelle the last person. Here's our number. 776. Okay. Who's closest? Maybe I pulled that a little fast, but let's see. Who's closest? 776. I see Gialis 782. That's pretty close. It's only 6 away. Oh, Corinne? What did Corinne have? I know, you guys always see the numbers better than me now. What did Corinne have? Oh, 777 from Corinne. Oh, she was the first one to put a guess, too. All right. Yeah, Corinne is our winner. Awesome. Congratulations. Shoot me an email at understandingbehaviorofficial@gmail.com to claim your prize, Corinne. And congrats. That's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much, guys. We do not have any events this weekend, but we will be back on Monday with new study groups. I think we'll actually have a new presentation next week too, so I'm excited for that. Stay tuned. We've got lots of fun things coming, and again, thanks so much for being here and for all of your support. You guys rule. If you're testing soon, good luck. I know a couple of you said this is your last studying hall before your exams, so go crush it out there. Keep us posted, and we're here for you either way. Have a great night, everyone. Good luck on your test, Addie. Good luck, Lillian. Good luck, Amanda. You guys are going to kill it. I know it. You guys are prepared, peaceful, calm, focused, resilient. You're going to nail it. Anyway, have a great night, everyone.